I'm Karen, and today I'm going to be asking myself about feminism. So let's see what I've got to say about it. So ladies, is society really that sexist?
Right, okay, I'm a radical feminist, and I tell you, the main problem in society is patriarchy. Men, they just think they own the place, but they don't. You know, women should fight back, they should sort men out, and sort society out once and for all. Well, I'm a Marxist feminist, and as a Marxist feminist, I believe that it's capitalism that is to blame for all the women's problems. It weakens women, and it weakens men. And if we could get rid of capitalism and change to a communist state, then I think women's problems would all disappear. Well, I'm a liberal feminist, and as a liberal feminist, I recognise that although things did used to be sexist in society, I actually think things have got a lot better these days, and I can't really think of any way in which society is still sexist. Can you? Right, I think what we need to get straight here is that women are just takers of shit in society. We take shit from our husbands, we take shit from our bosses, we take shit from just men in general on the street, looking at our tits and so on. I'm sick of taking shit. I'm not taking any more shit. I tell you what I am going to do though, I'm going to go on a baby strike, right? Because men, they're not listening to a word we're saying. And the only way we're going to get them to listen to us is to say, right, I'm not having any more babies till you sit down and listen to my demands. No more babies until you listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, what about the workplace though?
You know, men did used to earn a lot more money than women, but since the Equal Pay Act was introduced, men and women legally have to be paid the same amount of money if they're doing the same job. So really, we've got quite a lot of equality at work these days. Right, well, women are doubly exploited, right? They're exploited at work by the bosses, bossing them around, telling them what to do all day. So they're being exploited at work, and then when they get home, they're exploited at home by the husbands. The husbands telling them what to do, cook this, clean that. So they're doubly exploited. Whereas the men, they're only like once exploited when they're at work. So, you know, it's double trouble for women. Okay, let's talk about women getting promoted. Women generally cannot get to the best managerial positions. They're stopped by this glass ceiling, you know, and a lot of the time they take time off to give birth and raise children. You know, it's not our fault that we're the ones who get pregnant and have to give birth, but then it hinders our career. We can't get promotions, we can't get the managerial jobs, and we're just constantly being kept down by men who think they own the place. And I am sick of it, and it has to change. It has to change now. Yeah, but women keep men healthy. You know, the man has like a stressful day at work, he goes home, he's all angry, the wife calms him down, de-stresses him, nice meal on the table, go to bed with her at night, and then he wakes up in the morning all chilled out, ready to put in another good day's work at the factory. So the women are keeping the men healthy, keeping the men working, and that helps the bourgeoisie. Don't even get me started on the workplace. Women are so likely to suffer sexual harassment at work from their bosses, from their colleagues, and then when they get home, they're most likely to suffer domestic violence, marital rape, incest, abuse. Women, girls, they're just victims of male patriarchy. It's got to stop, because men are constantly taking advantage of women sexually, emotionally, financially, everything you can think of. Men are taking advantage of women, and I, for one, want it to stop. Okay, I admit that domestic violence and sexual abuse, sexual harassment used to be common problems experienced by women, but I really think that since the introduction of laws, we can now recognise that it's becoming less and less taboo, and women are no longer afraid to speak out, to say they've been a victim of violence. So I think that is coming down a lot these days.
Okay, what about a woman's role in the family though?
Well, women raise the next generation of workers for free. You know, they give birth to them, then they raise them, and the capitalists get the next generation of workers in the factory ready to work, and the women have done it all for free. You know, so the women's role is helping the bourgeoisie. Okay, I think we all agree on one thing. Men are bastards, right? They ruin our lives, they take our money, they take advantage of us. In fact, I think generally that the world would be a better place if men weren't in it. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, what about sex? Then, you know, why don't we just be lesbians, live in female-only households? And, you know, I think things would generally be better that way, because women are kinder, women are nicer, and everything would be fair and equal if we didn't have men. And, you know, again, if you're thinking about, well, how are we going to have birth? Well, that's what sperm banks are there for. So we don't need men in the bedroom, we don't need men in a relationship, we should just live in female-only households, and if you really, really want to have a baby, use a sperm bank. Whoa, calm down. I can see you're both getting quite het up about this, but what I'd like to say is that I think things are constantly improving for women. Yeah, things were bad in the past, but things just keep getting better and better and better for women. You could call it the March of Progress view if you like. Okay. Could you please just sum up your final thoughts on the matter, please? All this extremism just gives feminists a bad name. Really, I think what everyone wants in society is equality. We don't want to banish men. We don't want to have a communist revolution. We just want things to be a little bit fairer. So I think as a liberal feminist, as the voice of reason, I think we need to say, slow down on those crazy ideas and let's be sensible about this. Let's just try and have equality rather than revolution. Right, I think we can all agree here that patriarchy is the main problem in our society. Men have had it too good for too long. You know, sociology is male stream, isn't it? It's written by men, about men, for men. But there's some areas that we, radical feminists, think are really important. And we finally managed to get them put on the map, like domestic violence, conjugal roles, housework. You know, these are important things to us. So we've managed to get it on there, get people thinking about it, and show that things are still far from being equal in society. And I, for one, will not stop until society is completely fair. Well, I've heard what your arguments are, but I still think I'm right. I think the Marxist feminist position is the strongest one, because I think that capitalism is to blame, and if we get rid of capitalism and change to a communist state, women's difficulties would all disappear. Well, you're entitled to your opinions, but I think you're just far too extreme, and I think what we really need to recognise is that men are not really the enemy. Most men are actually quite nice people, and we need to try and learn to live in harmony with them rather than attacking them, because that's just being as bad as they used to be to us, isn't it? Okay, thank you for that, ladies. So what we've seen today is that feminists have got a range of viewpoints on the family and on society. The radical feminists are the extremists. They want to see massive social change and an end to patriarchy. The Marxist feminists, on the other hand, want to see a change to a communist state where they think the exploitation of both men and women will finally come to an end. The liberal feminists recognise that social change has been achieved over the past few decades and that finally we're reaching a state of sexual equality. So the only thing left to do now is for you to make up your mind about which opinion, if any, you agree with.